Welcome back to SnowRunner, guys, and today we are going to be checking out some very interesting information that was recently shared by the developers about the next DLC. Not only was there info about the next DLC that has been shared, but also some really exciting info about the next-gen version of SnowRunner. Now, we're actually going to go into even more detail on some of the specifics in this video than we did on the last update video that I did very recently. So, if that is something you're interested in, make sure you stick around for the rest of the video, and of course, let me know what you are most excited about in the comment section down below. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is the next-gen version of the game. Now, we talked about this in our last SnowRunner news update video, but this developer update actually confirms that if you own a previous generation version of SnowRunner, this upgrade will be free if you are a existing owner. So, let's say you own SnowRunner already and you play on a Xbox One or like an Xbox One S, but then you pick up an Xbox Series X, that will literally be a no-cost upgrade to you to get the next-gen 4K 60 FPS version of SnowRunner on either your next-generation Xbox console or your next-generation PS5. Now, with that being said, though, it's gonna be interesting to see how many people actually do that upgrade and move from a current-gen console into a next-gen console and bring SnowRunner with them. Next up, we definitely need to talk about the PTS update for Season 7. Now, the developers say here a new update will soon hit the public test server, and they say we are currently estimating the PTS update to be live next week. Now, obviously, when you guys are seeing this video, if you're seeing it right near around when it launches, then that means that we are hoping for a PTS update next week. Now, I'm sure there's going to be people out there that are going to say things like, well, they've been saying next week for the past few weeks, but here's the thing. We never fully, truly know when a PTS update is going to release, and I find that the best way to approach a PTS update is to be as patient with the devs as we can, and also realize that they are working on a lot of different things right now, juggling a lot of different things right now, and they also just finished the server migration process in order to make the game run better, run more stably, and also prepare for the Season 7 drop, as when Season 7 drops on the release build of the game after the PTS is over, we will be including things in the game like, for example, mods on Switch, amongst a bunch of new features. But most of those details you guys are already aware of. Now, in terms of things that are brand new in this developer update, let's move on into this. Now, they say discover the content of Season 7 Complete and Conquer. Season 7 takes place in Tennessee, which we already know, and this new summer map features many racing elements, a dirt circuit, a large river, and more. 2 new vehicles will be added to the game, a light scout car, and a truck that is tailor-made for racing. And as you guessed it, the new activity will be racing. The new region is centered around racing challenges that can be faced alone or with friends. Get ready for time trial challenges in solo and versus racing against your friends in multiplayer. So we are officially getting, and as this update from the developers officially confirms, we are getting like versus style racing, like player versus player racing in SnowRunner. That is a massive deal. Now, up to this point in the game, races on both campaign maps and modded maps have entirely been handled in a time trial format, where the only way you would be able to really compare and tell which player finished the circuit faster was to have both players do a time trial. Now, they are officially integrating a player versus player racing architecture into the game, which means you can have multiple cars, or multiple vehicles rather, racing against each other on a ranked board, essentially, like which player finishes first, second, third, and fourth. That is actually going to be an element of gameplay now. And I'm sure that there's going to be people out there that are going to have, mixed opinions about this, mixed reactions to this. I feel like there are going to be some people that are going to be really, really excited about it, and there's going to be others that are going to be like, why are you trying to turn this into a racing game? This isn't a racing game, it's a hauling game, and it's an off-roading game, it's not a racing game. But here's the thing, the way I see it, off-road inherently has racing elements to it, Off-roading spans all sorts of different types of disciplines, everything from, mud bogs to trail riding to rock crawling to, if you want to talk about racing, look at King of the Hammers, look at Ultra 4, look at Baja Racing. All sorts of different elements of off-road racing, are available here to draw inspiration from, and I think that it's going to be a really interesting way for them to expand the gameplay. Now, in that last slide, I actually showed a small photo kind of down in the corner of the text, but I want to show a larger version of it here. This, I am assuming, is going to be the new car. Now, it's a very odd-looking front end. It's kind of almost, it's a very rounded, very angled, round headlight style front end, but it also looks like it has miniaturized, almost like Tega tires, and the tires themselves, I mean, obviously they are not exactly the same as the Tega tires, but they are that same style, you know what I mean? That same sort of category of tire, if you will. Now, what that vehicle is going to be, we do not know yet. I mean, you could definitely leave any, speculations as to what you think that vehicle is going to be in the comment section down below. I definitely encourage you guys to do that, and that way we can really open up the conversation about what we all think that vehicle might end up being. But really, at the end of the day, it's kind of, it's kind of a toss-up as to what that vehicle really is going to be, and of course, we will have to wait and see. Now, I want to move the conversation on to how this affects the modding community. Now, the way they've said that they're bringing this racing architecture into SnowRunner gets me very curious, because does that mean that we are going to see an explosion of racing-themed maps, racetrack maps in the community now? I don't know. Does that mean we're going to see maps like, for example, Stadium Super Trucks getting massive updates where, for example, the big track is handled in a player versus player style format when you race rather than a time trial format? I really don't know. That is up to the modding community and the mod creators themselves to decide. But at the end of the day, though, I think even if those old maps don't end up getting updated, it really does also open the floor for maybe new maps to be created that are centered around the idea of racing, really in, once again, many different types of off-road racing disciplines, like the ones we talked about earlier, like Baja, like Ultra 4, like King of the Hammers. All of these different types of off-road racing really can be brought to life now, or at least once the update releases, there's a much higher chance of those types of off-road racing disciplines being brought to life in the form of SnowRunner mods. Another thing they made sure to touch on is the game's post-launch roadmap that we are currently aware of. Now, Season 7 sees us getting fairly close to the end of Season 2, with the final season, or the final part of the Year 2, I shouldn't say Season 2, the Year 2 pass being Season 8. Now, Season 8 is going to be a complete new expansion, as was the end of the Year 1 pass. But what's interesting here is we don't really know where the post-launch support for SnowRunner is going to go after the end of the Year 2 pass. Is there going to be a Year 3 pass? Is there going to be a Year 3 of updates and DLC? Is Year 2 the last one? Are they going to be working on a new game? Are they going to be announcing a new game? Is the Year 2 pass of DLC going to be it? We don't really know, but I will keep you guys as informed as I humanly possibly can as soon as I get any and all of that information. Now, another big thing that I'm very curious about is, what really is on the horizon for this game? Because think about it, they are pouring a lot of resources into it still. They're doing a lot of post-launch support. There's a really active team, really not only managing the community itself, but there is still an active team of developers really looking at what the community wants, and I think they've done a really good job over the years of, over the past couple of years of giving us a really diverse environment of post-launch support, right? You have everything from the Yukon to Amur to now nearing the release of Tennessee. So really, they've gone all over the map in terms of the areas that they have drawn inspiration from in terms of their regions and the maps that they want to show and display in the game. And can I just say, I know I've said this before, but I think Tennessee is the perfect environment and perfect region to build an area and build a map that is centered around like racing and off-road racing. I think they chose an awesome area to do it. Now, could they have chosen something out west? I mean, sure they could have. They could have chosen like something like, I don't know, like, again, like maybe Baja, for example, or maybe, I don't know, maybe Utah, like any state like out west. Sure, they could have done like desert stuff in terms of racing, but I think the off-road racing that they are going to be able to give us in a Tennessee-themed region is going to fit the framework and architecture of SnowRunner a little bit better. And of course, the comment section is always open for you guys to chime in on that. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on any of that in the comments down below. But really, at the end of the day, what do you think is going to happen after the end of the Year 2 pass? What do you think Season 8 is going to be? What do you think the post-launch support is going to be for SnowRunner as a whole, you know, once the Year 2 pass is over? But with all of that being said, let me know any and all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys next time. Talk to y'all later.